Okay, let's jump right into this incredibly dark, yet surprisingly beautiful explainer. For our journey today, I'm actually stepping into a pretty unique role. I'm going to be guiding you through this shifting twilight world, but not just as your host. No, I'll be speaking from the perspective of the ultimate stain upon the wet parchment of reality. Just imagine looking out at a universe that's finally settling into a brand new iridescent rhythm, a place where the beginning and ending of history are exactly the same thing. From this vantage point, we're going to witness a world being entirely rewritten, literally watching order dissolve completely into magnificent chaos. I mean, I literally have to laugh at the little authors of the spill, right? Those high sorcerers who spent eons sharpening their quills and polishing their stones. They were absolutely certain, so convinced, that if they just drew the lines straight enough, the universe would have no choice but to follow along. They treated time like a servant and history like a prison, weeping over the loss of their precious static control. But they never suspected, not even for a second, that they were merely setting the stage for my arrival. I didn't arrive to destroy. I arrived to show them that a perfectly clean page is nothing but an invitation for a beautifully unpredictable stain.
So, let's get into part 1, the wet parchment of reality, or the center of the spill.
As this wet parchment finally settles, the spark of evolution now stands dead center. Picture him wearing this red and blue Joker's motley, completely stained with smoky starlight. That old safety of the shore? Yeah, that's permanently abandoned. We've all been tossed straight into the crucible. In this grand, liberating comedy of collapsing logic, every single soul is forced to find its own honest currency within all this raw, unbridled energy. You just can't rely on the static rules of the past anymore. You have to navigate an existence where the old logic simply fails to exist. Moving right along to part 2, shattering the old order and the collapse of stasis.
The transformation of the landscape is just absolute. The High Sorcerer's old architecture of stasis, totally replaced. Those once frozen rivers of Oros have literally transmuted into flowing, razor-sharp glass. I mean, just imagine the sound of that for a second. A massive river of ringing, shifting glass. And those rigid, scheduled suns that used to just hang there predictably overhead, fractured, shattered into a billion simultaneous moments of pure potential. Even the very stones beneath those weeping sorcerers have somehow rediscovered the sheer joy of flight.
Now, the ones actually responsible for this glorious mess are our unbinding agents. The Spirit Siblings, the Spark, and Salvio Palido, they all co-authored this messy mischief. By ascending the spire of total chaos, they took what was once just a localized little anomaly, the moving foundation, and turned it into a massive, global, unstoppable phenomenon. They ensured that every single line drawn in the history of the world is now born from the very ink they bleed.
Which brings us to part 3, the marketplace of dreams and high-time resonance.
In this wild, surreal playhouse, these entities known as the Wit and the Hunger have completely devoured the rigid expectations of the old world. Those grim, immovable fortresses of the old regime, they've become spaces of totally unpredictable whim. Royal decrees that were once carved in stone are now literally contracts written in disappearing ink. The rigid boundaries of kingdoms have completely dissolved into shifting margins. Geography itself has become as fluid as wet ink, which makes all those ancient maps completely useless, but honestly, so incredibly beautiful in their ruin.
In this revamped marketplace, high-time resonance has hit its absolute peak. Merchants aren't trading in dead gold anymore. No way. Instead, they barter using the volatile weight of forgotten dreams. Just imagine walking into a market where currency is a memory, a fleeting whim, or a forgotten aspiration. And above it all, the architect's fractured crown of clock faces just clicks away in this hilarious mockery of linear progression, leading the populace in a rhythm that definitely doesn't belong to the world of men.
Okay, part 4, Amor Fati, the beautiful ruin. Now, what's absolutely crucial here is the deeper philosophy beneath this terrifyingly beautiful ruin. Because it isn't just chaos for the sake of chaos. There is this profound acceptance at the heart of the fractured world. It's the ultimate affirmation of amor fati, the love of one's fate. It's a reality that completely accepts that the foundation is always in flight and the roof is forever being torn away just to give the wind a more beautiful shape. And this matters directly to you, because this grim dark fable proves that stasis is the only true anomaly in a universe born to dance. It's a lesson you really need to apply to the messy mischief of your own life. Stop trying to freeze the river, Learn how to navigate the flowing glass.
Think about Salvio Palido for a second. He was once the ultimate master builder of stasis, but he realized the only way to master the chaos was to completely surrender to its authorship. He became the frame itself. His very spine was replaced by the spinning runes of the Apollonian gasket. Now, his crystalline silhouette bleeds the exact same liquid geometry that rewrites the mountains and moves the rivers at whim. He didn't fight the ink, he became it.
Finally, Part 5, Dancing Before the Ink Dries. The show begins.
And so we arrive at the climax of our grand comedy. I drop this ultimate stain upon the wet parchment of reality, but not as an end, it's a beginning. The High Sorcerers never suspected that the great star of high time was already bleeding into their inkwells from the future. It's a pretty stark reminder that a law which cannot be turned into laughter was never a law at all. It was merely a corpse waiting to be buried. The dancing star born from chaos just continues to touch even the most grounded lives with iridescent starlight.
So I'm leaving you with this final haunting challenge. That perfect order you might crave, it's just an illusion. The show has literally only just begun, and the ink on this wet parchment of reality is still very, very wet. Look at your own desire for static control, your own little fortresses of dead gold and scheduled suns, and ask yourself, are you ready to step into the beautifully unpredictable stain of your own fate? Who among you is actually brave enough to dance before the ink dries?